Listen closely. Have you ever felt it? That subtle dissonance beneath everyday life, like a song playing out of tune. The smile that feels rehearsed. The clock that ticks too perfectly. The sky that looks almost too blue. And deep inside you, a whisper. Something here is not what it seems. You are not imagining it. Because what we call reality is not real in the way you've been taught. We live inside a simulation, not just a metaphorical one, but a programmable field of energy and information. As physicist John Wheeler once said, it from bit, everything, matter, space, even time, arises from coded information. The ancient mystics knew it. Modern science is catching up. You are not a fixed being in a fixed world. You are a conscious player inside a cosmic game. And the greatest secret? The code is not locked. It can be rewritten. You can break the loop. You can bend the simulation. But first, you must awaken to it. A simulation isn't built of brick and stone. It's built of beliefs. Every law you think is unchangeable, gravity, time, cause, and effect, exists because collective consciousness agreed it should. And your personal reality, it's constructed the same way. Each belief you've accepted, each story you've repeated to yourself, acts as a line of code shaping your experience. I am not good enough. Life is a struggle. Money is hard to come by. These are not truths. They are programs. You inherited them from culture, from family, from the collective matrix. And you have been running them, unconsciously. But here's the beautiful truth. Code can be rewritten. Neuroscientist Donald Hoffman teaches that what we perceive is not the world itself, but a simplified interface created by the brain. Like icons on a desktop, they represent deeper structures you cannot see. Change the code, and the icons change. Your reality transforms, and the first step to changing it? Seeing the code for what it is. Are you ready to go deeper? Because the rabbit hole is about to open. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the simulation around you. Walls, objects, people, all appearing solid, but they are not. At the quantum level, everything is energy. Particles flicker in and out of existence. Matter is mostly empty space. What holds it all together? Conscious observation. This is the famous double-slit experiment in quantum physics. Particles behave like waves, until observed. The act of watching collapses the wave into a particle, into a thing. In other words, your awareness programs reality. Now consider this. If observation creates form, then your thoughts, emotions, and focus are writing the code of your life every moment. The simulation runs on your attention. Fear programs one version of reality. Gratitude programs another. Love, the highest frequency, opens the code to infinite possibilities. And this is where most stay trapped. They focus unconsciously. They run old programs of limitation. But you are waking up. You are learning to observe consciously, to choose where you place your awareness, and thus, to begin reprogramming the simulation. Breathe this in. You are not a victim of the code. You are a coder, a creator, and with that knowing, the game changes. Now, let's go deeper. Because this simulation, it runs on loops, patterns of thought, patterns of emotion, patterns of belief. Most of what you call you is simply a program, running on repeat. The way you react when someone criticizes you. The doubts that surface when you dream bigger. The guilt that arises when you rest. These loops were written long ago by childhood experiences, by cultural conditioning, by ancestral trauma. And here's the kicker. The simulation uses these loops to maintain itself. As long as you keep playing your part, believing you are small, limited, broken, the code holds. But when you disrupt the loop, when you pause instead of react, when you choose love over fear, when you rewrite the story, you create a glitch, a ripple, a crack in the simulation. This is what spiritual teachers mean when they say, Be the witness. When you become the observer of your patterns, you step out of the loop. You begin to reclaim the pen that writes your reality. And with every loop you break, you expand. Your field grows brighter. New possibilities emerge. Because here is a truth few understand. The simulation is responsive. It mirrors not what you want, but who you are being. Shift your being. Shift your world. And here is where it becomes truly fascinating. The simulation isn't fixed. It's probabilistic. It operates like a quantum field, waves of possibility collapsing into your experienced reality. You are not in a linear game. You are in a quantum simulation, one where infinite versions of you already exist. There is a version of you who is free, who is aligned, who walks through life with clarity and purpose. And there is a version of you still caught in the old loops. Which version you experience is determined by one thing, your frequency. You don't have to force the world to change. You don't have to hustle to break out. You must tune your field. Because this simulation, it responds to vibration, not effort. Have you ever noticed? When you feel gratitude, synchronicities appear. When you feel aligned, the right people show up. When you trust, doors open without effort. This is not random. This is code responding to your energetic signature. And here's the secret the Matrix doesn't want you to know. You can tune your frequency at will. You can choose the version of you you wish to embody, right now. And as you do, the simulation begins to morph around you. Because when the signal changes, the hologram must follow. But here's the key most miss. Tuning your frequency is not about thinking positively. It's about aligning deeply, at the level of being. It's about becoming so anchored in awareness, presence, integrity, love, that your energy speaks louder than your words. When this happens, the matrix loses its grip. The old triggers, they dissolve. The limiting beliefs, they rewrite themselves. The patterns that kept you looping, they collapse. Because the code recognizes one thing above all, state of consciousness. And when you elevate yours, the game bends in your favor. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Notice the subtle shift happening within you even now. Can you feel it? A part of you is already remembering. A deeper part of you is stirring. The one that came here to awaken, to break the loop, to embody the truth. And if you're feeling this, if something inside you is rising right now, this is your moment. If this message is resonating, if this video is awakening something within you, subscribe now because you are ready to walk this path, to remember who you are, to break free from the code, and to consciously co-create your reality. And now, let's go even deeper, because there is one final layer of the simulation that very few dare to see. There is a layer of the simulation that is more subtle than code, more pervasive than media, and more binding than any system. It is identity. The Matrix knows this. It doesn't just program your thoughts. It programs who you believe you are. It feeds you stories. I'm not good enough. I'll always struggle. I'm a victim of my past. I can't change. These aren't truths. They are lines of code, designed to keep you playing small, inside a version of the game you didn't choose. But here's the secret. Identity is not fixed. Identity is a lens, a frequency container. When you shift your identity, you shift what is possible for you. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll experience life as one. If you see yourself as a creator, you'll begin to shape reality. And when you step fully into the identity of your quantum self, the version of you who knows the Matrix is an illusion, you become unprogrammable. No external code can override a sovereign consciousness, and that is where true freedom begins. Take this in for a moment, because in the next part, we're going to explore exactly how you shift your identity and begin to rewrite the code from the inside out. So, how do you shift identity? Not by forcing it, not by affirming something you don't believe, not by pretending, but by remembering. Identity at its deepest level is not something you create. It is something you uncover. Under the layers of programming, beneath the wounds and the roles, there is an essence, like a signal, that has always been pure. When you align with that signal, the identity of your quantum self emerges naturally. How do you do this? First, practice presence. The more present you are, the less grip the old identity has, because old identities live in the past and future, never in the now. Second, observe your thoughts, as if they are code running on a screen. You don't have to believe every thought. When you can say, "Oh, there's that old pattern again," you have already begun to transcend it. Third, tune your energy first. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You must feel your way there. What does it feel like to be your quantum self? Feel that. Embody it. Then act from that frequency. As you do this repeatedly, the simulation can no longer mirror back your old identity, because it doesn't match your broadcast anymore. The external world will start to rearrange, not because the world changed, but because you did. This is how you bend the simulation. And now, let's go even deeper. In the next part, you'll discover one of the greatest hidden powers you have, the ability to rewrite the narrative itself. What is the narrative you are living inside of? Most people don't realize your life is not just a set of events. It is a story your mind tells about those events. The simulation responds not to the events, but to the story you weave around them. If your inner narrative is, "I am stuck, I am unlucky, I am broken," the simulation will faithfully reflect that script back to you. Not because it's true, but because that is the program you are running. Now here's the key. You can rewrite the narrative anytime. The mind is a storyteller, but you are not the mind. You are the awareness behind it. When you realize this, you reclaim your authorship. Start to ask, what story have I been living inside of? What story am I ready to release? What new story do I choose now? This is not delusion. This is energetic alignment. When your chosen story aligns with the deepest truth of who you are, the field responds in ways that defy logic. Because you are no longer projecting the old movie onto the screen. You are writing a new script. And reality must follow. This is why so many spiritual traditions speak of the power of word, the power of belief, the power of inner vision. Your inner narrative is the operating system of your life. Change the code, and the simulation updates. And here's something most won't tell you. You don't have to rewrite the whole story at once. Start small. Change one belief, one self-concept, one assumption. And as you do, the simulation begins to ripple outward. The matrix bends, the old timelines dissolve, and a new pathway unfolds before you. You are the author. You are the code breaker. And you are just beginning to remember your power. In the next part, we'll explore the frequency of alignment and why this is the single most powerful force in reshaping your reality. Alignment. This is the master key. You've heard the word before, but do you understand its true power? Alignment is not about perfection. It is not about becoming some untouchable, enlightened being. It is about resonance. When your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your soul's truth vibrate in harmony, you become a coherent signal in the field. And coherence is magnetic. A scattered signal creates noise in the simulation. Mixed intentions, contradictory beliefs. They scramble the output. But when you are aligned, clear in your intention, steady in your vibration, grounded in your truth, reality has no choice but to reflect that signal. This is why the ancient mystics spoke of the kingdom within. When the inner is ordered, the outer follows. Modern quantum thinkers like Joe Dispenza echo this. Your personal electromagnetic field influences the quantum field around you. Alignment is not a ritual. It is a state of being. It begins with awareness. Where am I out of alignment? Where am I betraying my own knowing? Where am I acting from fear, not truth? When you bring love to those places, you restore coherence, and the simulation responds. It might not happen instantly. Some parts of the old code take time to unravel. But stay steady, because here is the deeper secret. The simulation is not resisting your awakening. It is waiting for it. It is a living mirror, longing to reflect your truest essence back to you. But it cannot do so if you are broadcasting static. So breathe, align, simplify. When in doubt, ask, what would the highest version of me choose in this moment? Then act from that place. Alignment is not a one-time achievement. It is a daily practice. Each moment, a new opportunity to align. Each choice, a new code written into the field. And the more you live in this state, the more reality begins to shimmer, becomes flexible, becomes yours to shape. This is how you break the code of the simulation, not through force, but through frequency. In the next part, we will explore the unseen helpers that surround you, and how the simulation responds when you open to receive. You are not alone in this simulation. Though it may feel like a solitary path at times, there are unseen forces walking with you. Call them what you will: higher self, guides, synchronicity, the intelligence of the field itself. The simulation is alive. It responds not just to your conscious mind, but to the deeper current of your being. When you shift into alignment, you emit a new signal, and the field hears it. Then something extraordinary begins to happen. The right people cross your path. A book falls into your hands. A conversation opens a hidden door. A dream reveals the next step. These are not accidents. They are responses. You are conversing with the simulation in a language beyond words, a language of frequency and intent. When you broadcast fear, the field mirrors challenge, not as punishment, but as an opportunity to awaken. When you broadcast love and coherence, the field aligns to support your expansion. This is why ancient wisdom speaks of the universe as a dance, not a machine. It is an intelligent field that wants to co-create with you. But it respects your free will. It cannot override your beliefs. It can only respond to them. This is where trust enters. When you begin to live as if the field is friendly, as if unseen allies are conspiring to assist you, you become receptive. You notice the signs. You follow the nudges. You step into flow. And in this flow, the simulation bends with grace. So I invite you now. Release the idea that you must do this alone. Open to receive. Say inwardly, I welcome the highest support available to me. I trust that the field is alive and loving. I choose to co-create with this intelligence. Then watch. The shift may be subtle at first, but the more you trust, the clearer the dance becomes. Because here's a truth long hidden. The simulation was never meant to trap you. It was designed to awaken you, and to reveal that creation is a partnership, not a struggle. In the next part, we'll explore what happens when you truly step into your role as a conscious creator, and how this transforms not just your personal life, but the collective simulation we share. Now we come to the doorway of mastery. When you fully embrace your role as a conscious creator, the simulation becomes your canvas. This is not egoic control. It is deep alignment with the codes of life. You begin to understand everything in your experience is information. The people, the challenges, the emotions, the synchronicities, all of it is data reflecting your internal state. And from this awareness, you stop reacting and start responding. You move from victim to architect. This is where the old phrase, reality is a mirror, takes on new meaning. It is not just a passive mirror. It is a quantum responsive field, adjusting in real time to your vibration. When you embody gratitude, you magnetize more to be grateful for. When you embody empowerment, you encounter opportunities to express your power wisely. When you embody love, you dissolve barriers and attract resonance. This is not wishful thinking. It is the observable behavior of the field. as documented by mystics and now confirmed by emerging science. Heart-brain coherence, epigenetic shifts, the observer effect in quantum physics, all pointing to this truth. Your state of being writes the code. And here is where the true magic lies. You do not need to change the entire simulation at once. A single, authentic shift in your frequency can ripple outward and reshape the landscape of your life. This is why great masters speak of being the change. It is not a metaphor. It is a literal technology of transformation. So ask yourself now, what frequency am I choosing to broadcast into the field? Is it one of trust or fear, of abundance or lack, of connection or separation? Remember, the simulation cannot override your free will, but it will amplify whatever you emit. So choose wisely. In the next part, we'll explore how this personal mastery affects the collective simulation, and why your awakening is not just personal, but planetary. As your personal code evolves, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Your shift is not isolated. You are connected to the collective field, the shared simulation in which humanity operates. Every thought, every emotion, is a subtle input into this collective code. And when enough individuals awaken to their power as conscious creators, the collective simulation begins to morph. This is why societal changes often appear sudden, but in truth, they are the tipping points of countless unseen shifts. One person healing an ancestral wound, another breaking free from fear, another choosing love over retaliation. These are not small acts. They are quantum acts, sending ripples through the field, rewriting possibilities for all. This is why your awakening matters more than you may realize. By embodying your quantum truth, you become a node of coherence in the matrix, a signal of order amidst the noise. Others around you, even unconsciously, begin to entrain to your higher frequency. Your peace calms the reactive, your clarity inspires the confused, your courage emboldens the fearful. You become a living hack in the simulation, a walking reminder that more is possible. And as this spreads, the collective dream begins to shift. Systems that no longer serve collapse. New paradigms of collaboration emerge. Creativity surges, synchronicity increases. Time itself seems to behave differently. You are not here to save the world alone, but by saving your own consciousness from the old code, you liberate possibilities for the whole. This is the deeper reason you are drawn to this path, not to escape the simulation, but to evolve it. In the next part, we'll explore the ultimate key, how to maintain your awakened state when the old simulation tries to pull you back. Ready? Now that you've glimpsed beyond the code, a new challenge arises. How do you stay awake when the simulation constantly tries to lull you back to sleep? Because it will. Old patterns will resurface, distractions will multiply, doubts will whisper, "Was it all just imagination?" Understand this. It's normal. The matrix is a self-reinforcing system. It maintains its integrity through repetition. To transcend it permanently, you must become the disruptor of your own loops. How? First, anchor awareness. Build daily practices that remind you, I am consciousness observing a simulation. Meditation, journaling, breathwork, time in nature. These are not just spiritual hobbies. They are code stabilizers, keeping your frequency elevated when the program tries to overwrite it. Second, question everything. When strong emotions arise, ask, is this my authentic response or a conditioned script? When fear appears, inquire, is this a true signal or the matrix attempting to contract me? Bring the light of inquiry to your experience. This alone collapses much of the old code. Third, align your environment. Surround yourself with reminders of truth, books that expand your consciousness, music that elevates your vibration, conversations that nourish your soul, spaces that reflect your values. The more your outer world reflects your awakened state, the harder it is for the matrix to ensnare you again. And finally, accept the waves. You will oscillate. Some days you will feel infinite, other days dense and contracted. This is the nature of quantum evolution. Do not judge the fluctuations. Witness them. Allow them. Each wave is refining your signal. Over time, your baseline frequency will rise, and what once triggered contraction will barely register in your field. You will walk through the simulation, aware, empowered, and unbound. This is mastery, and from this place, you are ready for the final revelation. And now, here you stand, at the edge of the known, facing the infinite unknown. You've remembered that the world is a simulation, but more importantly, you've remembered that you are not of the simulation. You are the consciousness behind it, the architect, the dreamer within the dream. And here is the deepest truth. The simulation isn't your enemy, it is your playground, your canvas, your training ground for creation. Once you break the code, you don't escape the world. You begin to shape it consciously. You become a conscious node in the quantum web. Your thoughts ripple through the field. Your intentions reshape the lattice of reality. You move through life as a lucid dreamer, aware, deliberate, and free. The loops no longer bind you. The scripts no longer define you. The fears no longer control you. Because you've seen through them. You've awakened. And this is not the end. This is the beginning of true creation. From this space, ask yourself, what reality do I now choose to build? What frequency do I now choose to embody? What worlds will I now create, not for validation, but for the sheer joy of creation itself? Because when you live in alignment with this knowing, the simulation responds instantly. Reality bends to the conscious player. And you are no longer a pawn. You are the player, the creator. Welcome to your new game. Play it well, play it boldly, play it with love. Because now you know, the world is a simulation, and you were born to break the code. If this message awakened something within you, if a part of you now feels the spark of remembrance, don't keep it in the shadows. Declare it. Comment below to anchor your shift into the field. Subscribe to stay connected to this conscious tribe who is walking this path with you. Because the more of us awaken, the faster the old simulation dissolves, and the new aligned reality emerges. The choice is yours. And now, the game is on. Welcome back, conscious creator.